Good morning, folks. So I wanted to take a minute to give you a rundown on the comparison contrast essay before we, truly dive into it. So for this essay, this is going to be an essay that's three or more pages before the works cited page, because yes, we will use a works cited page for this essay. There will be two outside sources that corroborate one of each of your topics. Okay, and so that brings me to topic selection for this essay. And then we'll talk a little bit more about how this essay is going to work. So, as far as topics go, you can choose two versions of the same song. So, if you wanted to do an original and a cover, two different covers, um, it's up to you. As long as it's two versions of the same song. A remake of the same movie, okay, so like 1992 Aladdin and 2019 Aladdin, right? It's a remake. There's tons of remakes out there. I'm sure you guys talk about that over your dinner table at all, right? Creativity is dead, all of that. I don't necessarily agree with that, but there are tons of remakes of movies out there for you to use. So you could do that. You can do two of the same types of food from different cultures, right? So you could talk about, for example, Tex-Mex tacos as compared to authentic Mexican tacos, right? And kind of talk about the differences there and the similarities between them. You could also do a book and a movie version of the same concept, right? So if you wanted to do, say, for example, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the book version, right, as compared to the film, that works, okay? You can also do two rival kinds of technology. So something like, the Sony PlayStation 4 as compared to the Microsoft Xbox One, right? So we have those options as well. Also, you can do driving a vehicle with an automatic transmission as compared to driving one with a manual transmission. We all know which one's better. Just saying. No, I'm just kidding. But you can also do working at two places that have a similar customer base and purpose, right? Something like Racetrack or QT, or Racetrack and QT, or Publix and Kroger, right? Something like that, right? And what I want to point out before we even dig into this any further is that it's not about which one wins, right? There is not one of these two topics that's going to be better than the other. You might have a personal preference that say you like Racetrack better than QT for various reasons, but that doesn't even enter into it, right? Just leave that to the side. We're just identifying the similarities and the differences between these two different topics, okay? Now, the way that we're going to do that is in the introduction and the conclusion, we're going to focus on our similarities, right? And then in the body is going to be differences. Now, these differences are going to match up with the other differences that you're talking about, between the two topics, right? So, say, for example, you wanted to talk about, or you decided to write on the differences in remakes of the same movie, right? So, say you wanted to talk about the fact that one is a cartoon and one is live action, right? That's a valid perspective to take. And you would identify, similar things, right? Like what is it that this live action film does, right? And you would identify that. And then you would identify the same thing, the same kind of point in the paragraph about the animated version, okay? And you would just show in those differences that you point out about how they did this particular point, like how they took this one concept you're working with and how the live action version and the cartoon version did it differently. Okay, so the similarities are in the intro, conclusion, and then kind of implicitly throughout the body. But the differences are going to be what you highlight on in the body paragraphs. Okay, so you want to keep that in mind. All right, now there is specific organizational style that you'll want to use for this essay, and there will be another video about that specifically. But just to give you a heads up in case you watched the video of class, there is the block method and the point by point method. So you'll want to kind of know which one you're working with before you dive into writing about it. All right, both of them use the same thesis statement, and there will be another video about thesis statements as well. But you want to just sort of keep those things in mind, right? So the big takeaway is going to be watch future videos about this particular essay because the organization is slightly more complicated than we've dealt with before. It's going to be, this essay is 3 pages of your content, 3 full pages, then a works cited page, You have to use two sources, one for each topic. And then the other big thing is that you will want to very carefully monitor how you're organizing your essay. Okay, so keep an eye out for these other videos that'll be posted within the next day or two. If you have questions, as always, please don't hesitate to reach out and let me know. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.